This morning it was sunny here, and Alex he rarely does anything with just himself. Since we've been married and had our children really close together, it's always been like we all go do things. So he was like, he wanted to go fishing, and I was like, go on. And it was nice here. And then he got to where...
Over at the farm, it's 40 minutes to drive there, like to get into the field. And as soon as I got there, it was already sprinkling. The sky was getting black, and so I started casting. It looked nice, it was all overcast, and then it just started pouring the rain. And once I got over to the packing shed, there was so much water on the road. At that point, I hadn't been fishing in like a year by myself. And I used to fish all the time. I used to keep a fishing pole in my car.
And all your stuff you needed. Like
and all the stuff. And I used to do it in the Highlander, and I never even went. It was just like an emergency thing. Like, oh, I'm going to go fishing. See ya. But never did that.
And then it just got in the way. So I was like, this is enough. I need room for groceries and a stroller.
But not a bite, nothing. And I went with the cooler and put ice in it, expecting that I was going to get a few fish.
It was like the one time, when you go anywhere prepared, it never goes as planned. And then if you would go unprepared, you'd probably catch a bunch of fish. Yeah.
We were talking about it last week. I was on the side of a road in town, and somebody brought out some fish to us, and we almost ate all of it. I think they gave us 6 fillets. And
it was great. It was trout.
We were just talking about you don't have to pay for it.
You can get it when you need it and put it in your freezer as you need it, instead of like having to stockpile it one time or twice a year. You could just go fish when you need it.
And transitioning to the flowers, Miranda asked me this morning, she said, how do I feel about the flowers? I'd like to ask her that first.
I love the flowers. They've been so beautiful to watch grow and so fun. We've learned so much. Then the rest has just been like, I have flowers on my table every week.
Or every day, really.
Yeah,
you can switch the flowers out.
It's just so beautiful. Flowers are such a positive like mood changer for me. I mean, how beautiful is this? And to know that it was grown right at our house. Even last year, I would buy like a little bouquet here and there from the store. I never really thought about where they came from. They were just pretty, and they were like $6 for a small bouquet, and why not?
Last year, the actual statistics say that flower sales went up 30%, but because it's such an emotional attachment, Miranda says we're fancy because we have cut flowers.
We have cut flowers in
our bathroom.
In almost every room sometimes.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the flowers?
They're overwhelming. Yeah.
It's not funny.
Because you can look out the window from the living room or the kitchen. And I learned this from Mike that I used to do landscaping with. Is like zone 1, zone 0 is inside of your house, everything that you need to do. Zone 1 would be like your kitchen things, zone 2, zone 3, zone 4. And I don't want the flowers right outside my window because I consider work.
He looks at it as work, whereas I look out there and
as leisure.
And I'm like, oh, they're beautiful.
At the end of it, when it's finalized and it looks like something like this,
it's so
it shows appreciation. That I'm learning a lot that I can pick up on the sides of the road, and I call Miranda and tell her, hey, I just learned about this oil. Yeah.
You can find that at a lot of places, just growing wild.
And they're just buying it like crazy.
We had to take a little break and put our babies to bed. They were getting very cranky, and we're gonna finish answering some of the questions that y'all had commented before. We were at how we water. And
okay, I'm gonna stop you right there.
Okay.
If you can hear the white noise throughout the video, it's a thunderstorm right now, so it goes hand in hand with what we're talking about.
When we started out, we bought water hoses to water with.
They were the kink-free ones.
Yeah.
We spent a little more money on those.
We actually only had to water maybe 5 times because we get a lot of rain here.
The plants are on a slope, and none of the plants that we planted are hilled up. It's perfect for the hill because it has that slope. It just drains off, but it keeps the ground moist. And like Miranda was saying, it has trees on both sides, and south facing is above the tree line. The way that the terrain lays is not ideal, but it's on the north slope, and most of the time you want to plant them on the south slope. But we don't have that option, so we're doing what we have, and it makes the plants actually stretch a little more
to reach for the sunlight.
Yeah, and the florists actually like that. They want a longer stem.
A couple of our mistakes that we made and that we would not have known if we just hadn't up and started. Like, you just have to start somewhere and be willing to make mistakes. But we lost a crop of snapdragons because we should have put our netting up sooner.
They were too far spaced apart.
It should have been planted closer.
Some type of disease had gotten to the snapdragons before they were on a schedule to be sprayed. And with organic sprays, you have to spray a lot more because it's weaker. Other than that, that's the only real disease problem.
Well, and we've moved for the third time now.
We're playing musical chairs.
It started to downpour, and then Vincent
got really loud on our metal roof.
Yeah, Vincent woke up, so now we're inside. We're gonna keep going through what we feel like have been our mistakes as first-year growers. I think our second mistake
was the square footage of how we grew things. Mm-hmm. You take a sunflower and you want to head the size of a plate or a bloom the size of a plate. Well, you would separate that sunflower every 10 inches in length. Well, if you want them the size of 3 to 4 inches round, it's all preference of who you're selling it to. The wholesalers want them 3 to 4 inches round, so that means that you would have to plant them 2 to 3 inches apart. And that's what gives you your size. When you're doing your square footage, we could have actually intensely planted our hill.
We could have planted much more sunflowers.
We could have probably planted almost, I would say, triple, if not 4 times more flowers on that hill than what we done. But it's just all trial and error. Can't really ask that question. It's just for somebody to find out on a commercial scale.
Well, and especially being first-time growers, we are not going to have all the knowledge that a seasoned grower would know. As your mentor said, you just have to sometimes just do it.
That's what he does. He just does a trial of everything every year. And he says, just don't do it once, do it 3 times. Because if it doesn't work the first year, second year, then you know, it's variables on the 3rd year. And the lucky thing about that is I get to work in flowers every day, all day long, to know what's right and what's wrong and what's working and what's not with different varieties, because altogether we're probably growing 40 or 50 varieties, and I'm getting to learn each one of those individually. And then plus the stuff that we're foraging on the sides of the road, I'm really learning that.
Which is I think that's one of my favorite parts of learning the flower business. So much that you drive by and you would just think it's a weed. If you know how to
harvest,
well, and to bunch, and how many there needs to be to
and
sell,
who to sell to.
It's you have money that you're driving by. I think that's so amazing.
And that brings us to our goals. Like the wildflowers on the sides of the road, there's not really any overhead in that. There's nothing besides knowledge there. So you could literally stop on the side of a secondary road or a dirt road, in our area that is, and maybe not in the city,
right,
but on a dirt road, and pick up 100 or 200, even if not $500 worth of flowers in an
hour. As long as you know when things are,
you have to know
the windows of when they're growing.
You have to know the harvest times. You have to know what to pick and what not to pick, because of course some things are poisonous at certain times, so you can't just
you can get into poisonous things, poison ivy,
or snakes, or like stepping on a snake in a boot. I done that the other day. Yeah, that scared me.
Well, Keslin always puts toys in his boots, and you've just gotten used to it. So he thought that
it was just a toy.
He thought it was a toy.
Well, the toy was rolling around in my boot, and I kept squishing and stomping the thing.
But then the crazy thing is he actually still wore the boot.
Yeah, I went
would
outside.
Have burned the whole shoe. Those would have been done.
I got shoes that talk to me. They flop when I walk.
I do not like snakes whatsoever.
So the goals would be
having bouquets ready for people who want to get on a list.
As a CSA, we sold half of our business, and then we really got into full-time flower growing so that we could make a huge transition and be together as a family. I think that's the ultimate goal, and to be able to be super flexible, have little hands working beside of us, and that would be their knowledge as well.
And living a life that, like, obviously we take vacations and we love a vacation, but creating a life that we don't need escape from. If we take a vacation, great. I just want our life to be based around family so we can enjoy every day together as much as we can without needing to then be so stressed out chasing after everything. As the growing season continues, this is coming into our busiest time of year. We are going to be canning and putting up a lot of food from the garden. We just want to know, do y'all like those types of videos? If you do, comment below a garden emoji, a cucumber, tomato, and that'll let us know if we should show you more of that, or if you like
the flowers
and the goats. You could do a goat emoji for the animals, or you can do flower emojis. We just want to know a direction to
be more focused on.
Yeah, and creating content for y'all to watch. I think we are about at the end of this little chat with you guys. We hope you stay tuned for upcoming videos. We have a lot of exciting things to share with y'all. We'll see you on the next one.